All right, welcome everyone to our Wednesday lesson for vocational prep. This week, we're going to shift gears and we're going to move from the discussion of job awareness and different jobs that you can hold to workplace behaviors. So once you have a job, workplace behaviors are a huge part of job etiquette, how you are going to interact with your coworkers, with your clients or customers. And so we really want to get you prepared for the workplace and build your job readiness skills. So we're going to be going over workplace behaviors for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And so let's dive on in. All right, so what are workplace behaviors? Well, like I mentioned earlier, workplace behaviors describe the ways in which we are expected to act while we are at work for our jobs. It's a huge component of job etiquette, as I mentioned, in addition to the specific duties of your job. So we're going to talk about workplace behaviors generally today. And then next week, we're going to talk about how you can implement good workplace behaviors. What sorts of behaviors or actions that you can take to set yourself up for success once you have a job. So this will be a pretty quick lesson. So just like we have cool behaviors and not cool behaviors at school, there are good workplace behaviors which help us stay employed and to get along with our coworkers and customers. And then there are bad workplace behaviors. These are things you don't want to do. It's ways that we act that can get us in trouble or even fired from our jobs. So we're really going to focus more on good workplace behaviors because bad workplace behaviors are basically the opposite of good workplace behaviors. And we don't really want to emphasize bad workplace behaviors. So let's focus on what we can do proactively. What are some actions that we can do to help us stay employed and to get along with others at our job? So I found this nifty diagram online, and it talks about good or professional behavior in the work environment. So these are all things that we want to aim for. Regardless of what our job may be, these all can pretty much apply to any position, whether you're working in a grocery store, a movie theater, let's say you're working at the post office, a restaurant. These are all things that you can implement across a variety of contexts. So some good and professional workplace behaviors include being courteous or kind and having good manners, being polite, right? Saying please and thank you, asking how people are doing. Hello, how are you doing today? Or how's your day going? Those are all polite and courteous things that we can do to make others feel comfortable and to show that we are kind and that we care. Being punctual. This is something we're really going to explore in week 3 of workplace behaviors. But basically, being punctual means being on time to work. Not late, but on time. Usually, if you're punctual, you even want to be early. That way, you can be prepared if there's a change in your schedule or if your boss maybe has extra things for you to do. So we definitely want to be punctual. We want to arrive to work either before or right as we are scheduled. Keeping confidential details confidential. That means not sharing things that our boss or coworkers ask us to keep confidential, to keep not secret, but to keep private. Now, there are definitely times when it is okay to break confidentiality, and that's basically when someone tells you something that could hurt another person, or when someone tells you something that might just pose a general danger. Okay. But if your boss tells you, hey, I just want to let you know, we have some customers coming in at 4 o'clock. They have some specific accommodations. I need you to keep this confidential. They're preparing you for what to expect, but they also don't want you to share that with everyone. Okay. So that's an example of maybe a confidential detail that we can keep private. We don't have to share with everyone. Honesty, always telling the truth. That is a huge part of good workplace behaviors, of being professional. Okay, we have to be truthful and forthcoming. We need to be reliable and dependable. That means we are not flaky. We arrive on time. We perform our duties as expected. We are consistent. All right. If you are someone who is dependable, that is a very good thing because it means people can rely on you and you deliver consistent results. Of course, having appropriate dress and hygiene. You want to make sure that you are wearing your uniform if you have a uniform for work. You want to exercise good hygiene by washing your hands, maintaining a cleanly appearance. So showering every day, taking care of your hair, making sure that that you look professional and that you're ready for the job, so that you let your boss and coworkers know that you take this job seriously. Having respect for others. We might not always agree with our coworkers or boss, and we might have different opinions, but it's really important to, no matter what, have respect for the person. So you treat them how you want to be treated. Okay. This is something we'll talk about more next week and how to implement respect in the workplace. Avoid having conflicts of interest. This means that you don't do something at your job that could jeopardize your job. So let's say you work at a grocery store, your family comes in, you want to treat them just like everyone else, because if you give them preferential treatment or give them like free products, that's a conflict of interest because you're not allowed to do that. You're not authorized to give away free things just because they're your family. So when you think of conflicts of interest, just make sure that you treat everyone the same, okay? That way no one can say that you're giving someone preferential or better treatment. And of course, you want to keep your job and your personal life separate. Well, what this means is that it's okay to share with your coworkers your interests, your hobbies, and information about you, but you also don't want to take your personal baggage into the workplace. So if you had a bad night and you fought with your friends over something silly, and you have work the next day, you still need to go to work and have a really good attitude, a positive attitude. Even though you might be sad on the inside, it's important to maintain a professional and positive demeanor because that's what makes a workplace function and keeps it a healthy environment. You know, there are definitely days, right, where Miss Morris might have an off day. Maybe you're not feeling so great. As long as it's not an emergency, you need to show up to work. You need to be reliable and dependable, and you have to be positive because other people are counting on you. Okay? So keep your job and your personal life separate. All right. So we talked about some good workplace behaviors that help us to be professional and show that we care about our jobs. But why is it important to have these good workplace behaviors? Why should we do these things? Well, I just said it, right? Having good workplace behaviors means that we are being professional and that we take our jobs seriously. It is so important to act appropriately at work because honestly, this is how you earn money to support yourself. This is how you pay your bills, how you buy things that you want and need. And our positive workplace behavior can also help us qualify for promotions or better jobs in the future. When you arrive to work, you should treat every day like it's your first day. You know, you want to make a good impression on others. You want to work hard so that they know you take the job seriously and they consider you as someone that they would, definitely refer for a better job in the future. You know, if you want to apply for other jobs, you often need letters of recommendation. And so you get letters of recommendation often from your teachers, your boss at your job. And this helps future potential employers know that what your workplace behaviors are like. What are you like to work with? Do you take your job seriously? You know? And so you want to always put your best foot forward and have awesome workplace behaviors every single day, not just the days that you feel good, but every day. Okay. All right. So we're going to do some scenarios and we're going to talk about, is this showing good workplace behaviors or not good workplace behaviors. Okay, so yes, it is a good workplace behavior to practice, or no, it is not. And so the first one's already done for us. It says to call in sick because you have a family emergency. If it's an emergency, like someone is ill or just something where you need to attend to your family right away, that is a totally good workplace behavior. You don't want to call in sick just because you don't want to go into work. You're tired. No, having an emergency is a valid reason to call your boss and say, I'm so sorry, I cannot make it in today. Ideally, you want to tell them a little bit in advance or the moment you find out. That way, again, you're being dependable and reliable. All right, so the second one says to be late because you overslept. Ooh, well, this is not a good workplace behavior, right? Because we want to be punctual. We want to be on time. And if we're late because we slept in a little bit longer, we didn't listen to our alarm when it went off, that is not a good workplace behavior. That's not being punctual. That's bad. All right, the next one says to chew gum in front of customers. Let's think about that. Should you chew gum while you are talking to other customers? What do you think? That's right. The answer is no. That is not a good workplace behavior. It shows that you're not being professional. It looks like you don't take your job seriously. Is it okay to be late because there's traffic on the freeway? So in this case, I put yes because oftentimes rather, we can't control what the freeway is like. Sometimes people get into accidents. There's just things that are beyond our control. However, if you are being punctual and you are arriving to work early and you leave your house early, you can help account for any possible traffic or unexpected impediments or impositions on your way to work. All right. So often, like for example, Miss Morris leaves her house at 6:30 to get to work, even though work doesn't start officially until 7:45. At least at March Middle School, it didn't start until 7:45. And that was because I didn't want to encounter any traffic on the freeway, or if there was an accident or I got a flat tire or something like that. I wouldn't be late still. I give myself that cushion time beforehand. All right, this is a big one. Is it okay to use profanity? Profanity means bad words or cuss words. Let's say you're mad. Something happens at work and it makes you mad. Is it okay to use bad language? No, that is not a good workplace behavior. That is not professional. Is it cool or a good workplace behavior to smile? Of course it is. Now you don't want to over exaggerate your smile, but if you're happy and even if you're not happy, it's good to smile. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it, put on your best Disney face. Is it cool to have a conversation with customers? Yes. And I say yes with a little asterisk. It's okay to have a conversation with your customers to ask them like, hey, how is your day going? What are you up to later? We definitely don't want to ask intrusive questions like, hey, where do you live? Or, oh, what's your phone number? So we can hang out. Because again, these people are strangers. We don't know them. But you do want to be polite. You want to have good manners. It's okay to say hello. It's totally fine to ask how they're doing. Oftentimes, I enjoy when the cashier asks me how I'm doing because then it's just a nice conversational exchange. I ask them how they're doing. Maybe we talk about something that's going on in the news. Just make small talk. But we don't want to hold full-on conversations because that might disrupt the flow of work. It might make people feel uncomfortable because, again, we're asking questions that might be personal or maybe they have places to go to. So it's okay to have a short conversation with customers. We don't want to have long, drawn-out ones. And last one, is it okay to call in sick because you are throwing up? Yes, it is okay to call in sick if you are throwing up. We can't help it when we get sick. You definitely don't want to show up to work sick because then you can spread your germs to others. So it is totally fine and a good workplace behavior practice to call in sick when you are not feeling good. And I don't mean, oh, your stomach kind of hurts because you haven't eaten. I mean, because you are actually sick. You're coughing, you have a sore throat, you're throwing up, you're having diarrhea. That's an okay reason to call in sick. Okay. So next week, we'll go more in depth on how we can implement good workplace behaviors, but this is just a brief overview of what it means of what good workplace behaviors are. I will see you guys in class today. Take care.